Are we rolling? Is it rolling, Jacqueline?
Yes.
Awesome. Hey everyone, Chad Colby here. Yep, we're driving along here in central Illinois somewhere, trying to track down a combine. As you can see alongside me here, most all the crops are out here. I would say 80-90%. There are a few guys running. I know this past weekend, Jacqueline and I were fortunate enough to get in a combine, help a buddy of mine finish harvesting, and I was even in an auger cart, which was great. But I promised you guys that we would return to the AF10 with the 40-foot, 16-row, 30-inch corn head. And thanks to CNH and Michael Schmidt from Central Illinois Ag, we're on our way to do that. I appreciate my wife being with me to help do a little filming. But another little thing I'll tease you with is keep an eye on the YouTube channel, because we got an invite to go check out New Holland's CR11 combine also, and I can't wait to run that here as well. I think we found them. Looky here, honey. So we're down at Frontier Farms. They've got 4 Class 8 combines, and then they also have the AF10 has been down here with them too, running. And Jacqueline, if you would, swing around there to the right, you'll see the AF10's running. I don't know if you can zoom in, honey. There it is down there. Wow, is he flying? That's awesome. So before I get into the interview with Michael Schmidt, I just want everyone to know that I think a lot of you have a lot of experience in combines. And honestly, I'm no different. For me, it started when I was a young man here, around 9 years old, maybe 8 years old. This was our first combine, a 1440. And certainly when you compare it to the massive size of these new combines, it's incredible. When we showed up there, they just had finished a farm and were getting ready to move about 5 miles, so they were unhooking the corn head. That is a 16-row, 30-inch chopping Case IH head. We'll talk about it here in the video. Just want to do some thank yous here real quick to my wife, who accompanied me and did some videotaping for me today, did a great job. Certainly our friends at Case IH that allowed me to do this, and Michael Schmidt, from Central Illinois Ag, a 5th-generation store here, kind of in, I guess, in Central Illinois, right? But again, lots to talk about. If you haven't seen it already, there's several videos out there. Was fortunate to run this with a 50-foot MacDon soybean head. We had a nice interview with Michael talking about this combine and soybeans. There's also a video early on with the Wade Farms as they ran it on a 30-foot, 15-inch head. But everybody was talking about, what's this thing going to be like when you put a 16-row, 30-inch platform? What kind of numbers? Folks, I'm telling you, we saw numbers, 8,000, 9,000 bushels an hour, which is incredible. Once we got to the field here, we're getting outfitted here. It's about a 30-minute conversation with Michael and I in the cab, and sit back and enjoy it. If you got any questions, put in the comments, and we'll do our best to get an answer right back to you. But the best place to go will be your local Case IH dealer. Thanks for watching, guys. Hey, I think it's working. Hello, 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 hello. Well, we promised you we'd find a corn head. Michael, you couldn't find one any bigger than the 16-row?
No, the 24-row is still up in South Dakota. I couldn't get Gehring off to bring it fast enough.
So, Michael, it's been, what, a good solid week now since you were switched to corn? What, I guess the big question is, what have you learned?
It is a corn-eating son of a gun.
Yeah.
It really likes about 5.5 miles an hour, about 7,500 bushels an hour.
Don't kid yourself. I saw some screenshots. It'll do more than that.
It will do more than that. It will definitely do more than that. The limiting factor is not the cleaning capacity or the threshing capacity of the machine.
Right.
We'll run up against horsepower, especially when the corn's a little wetter, when you get up over 8,000 an hour.
I think we're all used to that in soybeans, right? You're always up against horsepower in beans.
Right.
Very rarely in corn do you do that. In the field here, this grower here, Michael's got several Class 8 combines, You've had operators in and out of the cab here the last couple weeks. What's the feedback you get from this?
Well, it's just the capacity of the machine in corn and what we're able to do. And like I said a couple weeks ago, we still have done nothing really but adjust the concave clearance. The automation is keeping us where we need, and you know, there's a bar graph over here. We're literally not even close to overloading the sieve yet for pressure. Grain loss, we've done check after check.
Hey, don't put it on the cab now.
Yeah.
This would be really good if you did. While we're talking, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, a little cab corn. Everybody likes a little cab corn. We've been known to make a cab corn video or two.
But you know, I think the thing is with this is, to me, it just seems like a completely different animal. You got plenty of cleaning, you have plenty of separation. And in corn, Michael, that's always been the challenge, right?
Right.
Is you run out of that, especially in wetter corn. Now, obviously, most guys are getting wrapped up. This corn, you said, was what, around 13%?
It's 13, 14% corn. And
that's crazy.
we're hopefully get a little rain this week just to knock the dirt off, but
yeah,
it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
So you've had a bunch of growers out here in the machine. Talk a little bit about some of the feedback you get. I mean, this is a different animal altogether. I don't care what your history is of running combines. You haven't run anything like this before.
Yeah.
What are guys saying, Michael?
Well, I had a customer actually fly in last week, and we got him in. He's an X9 owner, and the first thing he said was, "Why do you how much will this thing really do?" And we pushed it up, and we got to that almost 8,000 bushels an hour. And then he went home, and for about the next 3 days, he sent me screenshots of his X9 where he is just hammering on it, and it's approaching that 7,000 bushels an hour, but it is he's working it hard to get there.
Well, I think one of the things, and you and I talked about it in soybeans, and you can't discount this, is this is truly a clean sheet design combine.
Yes.
So talk a little bit, Michael. You've had a chance to be around this machine. You've got a technician here from Case as well. What kind of things have you seen that are really different from a flagship? You were talking about the even the feeder house reverser and the front drive off the rotor. Talk a little bit about some of that stuff that's completely different.
Yeah, so the feeder house drive on these, there's 2 or 3 different versions. The 2 versions, one's like an 11.5 lift, the other one's like over 15,000. When you get that, you get a heavy duty drive, and that's driven off the right hand side.
That's
what comes down.
Right?
Yes,
yeah.
And it's got an 1 3/4 drive shaft instead of the 1 3/8, which is what everybody else has. And then on the left hand side, what you've got is off the front of the rotor, you've actually got another shaft, and that's what's driving the feeder drive itself, the chain and the feeder chain, and then the feed accelerator, I guess is what they're calling it. But it's variable to the rotor. So as the rotor speeds up, it speeds up. The rotor slows down, it slows down.
Which makes sense.
It does, and it's a very quiet machine in that manner. The noise that we hear is the fan.
Right. It was interesting. You and I walked around it in soybeans the other day, and if you haven't seen it, and I know at Louisville you couldn't climb up on it. Of course, at Farm Progress you could. With the engine turned the other way, it's amazing how accessible things are on this combine to work on.
Yeah.
That was a thing that really kind of got my attention, and I don't think you and I are wrong in that regard.
No, it's we've like all good new products, you're gonna find some things that an engineer didn't quite do right, or a supplier is not built exactly the way it needed to be built. So we've got to change a few lines. It's a steel and rubber line in the back that we've struggled with, but they you open up a trap door on top of the sieves and you get right to it and change it. And we're smart enough that the last time I got one, I got 2. And
it's interesting. I think that clean sheet design, if you want to call it that, it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to walk around the machine and honest to God, yeah, the cab's got some similarities. I get that. But boy, you get outside and start looking, it's longer, so it rides different in the field. I think that's one thing that even Brad Wade was talking about when we had it in 15-inch cord. He said driving it down the road, Chad, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Just a lot of things we're not really used to.
Yeah, it's 25 mile an hour down the road, and you feel safe 100% of the time. So that's a big deal, is the feeling comfortable as you're going that speed down the road. You know, one of the cool parts, and I don't know how they created this, the combine basically has 2 complete cleaning systems. It's got a front and a rear, and there's actually 2 clean grain augers at the bottom of this combine. One feeds into the front area of the clean grain elevator, and then the larger auger feeds the main clean grain elevator like we're all used to. It's about a 70-30 split, 70 into the big one in the back, which I would consider to be the back, and then 30 into the front. And that has been, I think that's where a lot of this capacity comes from.
It's getting it away earlier.
Is we're getting it away.
Yeah.
We've played with we went from an 8,300 bushel an hour pulley to a 10,000 bushel an hour pulley.
Wow.
The engineering team has recommended we go back to the 8,300 here while they're getting this machine figured out completely. So we put it back on today.
One thing I was surprised at, just looking at the specs, if you don't know much about it, comparing it to a flagship, it's literally, I think, a little bit more than 30% more sieve area. And then, Michael, we haven't talked about it on this video yet, but the rotor is it's just special. That's the only way I could say it. It's got 4 more modules. So essentially it's 50% bigger. That's got to be making such a huge difference in separation.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever see any cobs out here in the samples. The samples look great. I mean, it's incredible what it looks like.
Yeah, I've got some pictures on my phone of the grain tank the other day when we were clear full, and it's it would be a really nice screensaver for your phone. There isn't a stitch of cob or trash or anything in it. Unload rate 6 bushel a second. So when you hit the unloader button, the first thing that it does is moves that pivoting spout down, and it goes to a predetermined position that you can tell it where you want it to be.
And 507, almost 570 for
567 bushel grain tank.
Hey, how about that? A combine you could just buy and then take it to the field without putting extensions on. That's about the right number, though, isn't it?
Somebody will make a bigger extension for it.
I'm sure.
So the nice part is we can move that spout from in here in the cab and get the corn over on that other side. Obviously, in this really dry corn, it flows like water, but it's got the ability here, and we're going to do it in just a second. We can turn off one cross auger, or we can turn off both cross augers.
Wow.
And then we can clean out the grain tank, or clean out the unloading auger.
Will you do that here?
Yep.
That's so slick. But Case has had that for a long time.
We have, we've had it. And everybody else has wanted it.
So what else, Michael? Talking to customers, other than the massive capacity, you got to have some clients that are trying to figure out, does this thing have a place? I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, that's been the conversation all week, last week and this week with it is, what are you going to do? You're going to go from 2 to 1, 3 to 2, 4 to 2, 4 to 3, just depending upon the operation. This machine definitely has a place in a farm that has the ability to handle this kind of capacity. There's 6 miles an hour. We'll just let it do its thing here since we got some straight rows.
Wow. That jumped from 3,500 to 55, 6,200.
That's 67. Here's 7,000.
Wow.
I actually have a screenshot of my phone last night with the engineer running it that's at 9,000. 9103.
Wow. So just so everybody understands, if you go to a 9, You got the same box, but you get the smaller engine package. Other than that, it's the same, Michael?
Correct. You can get the 567 bushel grain tank with it as an option, but it's only going to unload at 4.5 bushel a second, and that's
horsepower.
It's a horsepower thing.
Yeah.
So, but I think the 9 definitely will have a place at some farms here as we figure out and navigate this larger combine package.
Well, I mean, we've all known the difference between going to the Class 9 combine. It's the same box minus a bunch of horsepower.
Right.
So when you go to this, you're getting the added separation and the clean grain and all the new current stuff, and that's what everybody wants.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, I think the interesting conversations that you and I've had about this is, I think understanding the efficiencies is a lot more than, hey, there's a Class 8 combine over there. How many bushel an hour is it doing, or how many acres an hour? Because even fuel and labor, and there's too many factors, I think, in this combine to just go, hey, it does 6 acres more an hour, let's buy one, Dad. I think it's way deeper than that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know that Case has got an efficiency check sheet or spreadsheet that I want to get my hands on, because I honestly think when you break this down to the acre and the bush, even down to the bushel,
Right.
This combine, there's going to be a lot of efficiency gains,
Right.
with fuel. And the one thing that, what's a man cost?
Yeah,
and
that's
that's definitely going to be a factor.
And even moving. I mean, today I've been around the combine. My goodness, how many times the head been off? Are they 3?
Yeah.
And it's probably going to come off again tonight. Well, maybe not.
Now we're going to jump across the
Go
road.
across the road. We won't have to. So when we get turned around here, Michael, get this thing lined up and running. If you would grab your phone and log into Field Ops and hit screen record of the display, and let's talk a little bit about how that works. I showed Michael how we get screen recording on his phone, and I'm going to embed it in the video here so you can see it. Talk a little bit about that, Michael. What a neat tool, finally, to have the ability to log into the monitor and see what's going on.
Yeah, so I obviously have access to this customer's.
Hit screen record on that for me. So swipe upper right corner, and then hit the dot. There you go. And keep it vertical like that. There you go. Now you're good.
So Case came out with their new Field Ops
There you go.
a couple weeks ago, and we've been playing with it for a while. And so we have the ability here to go to screen record.
Here, I'll hold it. So basically, this is what it looks like. I'm going to put it in the video too, so you guys can see it. But when the combine was running earlier, and you've been talking to me about it for 2 weeks, it's been pretty neat to be able to log in when a customer's running it.
Yeah.
And keep track of the machine. What do you think about that, Michael? What do
Well,
you like so
it's
far?
great because I can sit at home and look and see what their settings are and things like that. It does, when you request it on your phone or your tablet, it pops up a message here in the cab.
Okay.
And so, as the operator in the cab, you can accept it or
Oh,
not.
you can. Oh,
Yep.
that's nice. So you know when someone's logged in.
Yes.
Okay, so that just, there you go. Yep. Oh, there it is right now. It's popping up on the phone. So here it is on the phone. I'll embed that in the video now. How neat is that? Now you just can see it, correct?
I can see it, but I can you can push and hold your finger on something.
Oh,
and
look
it
at
pops
that.
up a finger
Oh, look at that.
over here.
That's so cool. Wow.
So if I wanted the customer to make a change to something, I could point at it.
That's kind of neat.
And then he'll know. I think, eventually we'll get the ability where we can, you can have a master that's, sitting in his truck, monitoring multiple machines and making those changes on the go.
That's so slick. Wow.
So
and obviously service is the big part of this. If somebody's got a problem, they can look at a code and do all that kind of stuff.
right.
too,
We've been able to do that for a couple of years, as far as we
get
have
alerts and all that stuff.
Yeah, we can look up, but I can see now, I can see this customer's entire fleet of Steigers, Magnums, combines, and the other night I saw one had a red check mark on it, so I let them know that they needed to look at that in the morning, and they did. It ended up being just needed an air filter blown out, but
it told you.
But it told me, yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, they must have done some replanting out here.
Yeah, this field, I didn't realize where we cut in here has got a big swale through it.
So Michael, when I'm done with this, I just hit the X?
Yep, just hit the X.
And then that should say, there it went.
There it went.
It said, that's so cool. So what other aha moments? You've been doing this for 5 generations, and you and I have been talking about this quite a bit over the last few weeks just because it's such a game changer. What other opinions have you got, Michael, since being around it?
The biggest opinion I think everybody's got is, holy cow, it's a lot of capacity.
All right.
How are we going to get it away?
Yeah.
We're late in the season for Central Illinois, and it's October 29th. I mean, I remember when this is November 29th, and then we're talking about it being late. But,
yeah, that's right.
Elevators are getting full. So if we could have been out here in the last 3 or 4 weeks running 7,000 bushels an hour when the elevators could take it all, that would have been great. I mean, we've had to jump around here all weekend to find a place to take corn. They actually moved back towards what I call their home area over the weekend to take it grain to their own grain facility.
Michael, one of the things that I get lots of questions about this combine. I think you have to take a look at what your production levels are now and how many bushels a day you really need to harvest. How much can you handle?
Right.
Forget about what you got for a combine in the shed. And if you can only do 40,000 bushel a day, it's probably not your combine.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
No, it's not.
And I think you got to almost work it backwards. And it's funny, I talked to the producer here, and when I asked him it, he knew it. He's like, we do 70 to 80 a day. The good days we do 100.
Yep.
Well, for him, he's working backwards then. Well, maybe I only, instead of 4 combines, maybe 2 years from now, maybe it legitimately only is 2.
Right.
And maybe instead of 4 carts, it's only 3. What I'm saying is I think you got to look at things differently.
Well, and you can't hardly take 2024 and say, hey, this is a normal harvest season.
That's right.
Because, we cut all those beans so early.
Right.
And got done with soybeans. Well, a lot of times you're struggling right now to get completed and finished up on soybeans.
But don't you think, too, if this was a wet year where this corn's 27%, that's where this is really going to shine.
Right.
Because you've got separation, you've got sieve capacity, things that, quite honestly, you ran up to in wet corn.
Right.
And we didn't get a chance to run this in too much wet corn. I guess the Wades ran it early in that 15-inch stuff. That stuff was
low 20s.
But again, that's where this thing's going to, in my opinion, really perform.
Yeah.
Is when it's harder to thresh. This is so easy right now. It runs like water.
Right. We harvested a field of corn with it when we first got over here, around Farmer City, D-Land area. There was, 280 bushel corn at, 20%. And it loved 5.5 miles an hour at 7,500 bushel an hour.
That's crazy. So that's absolutely crazy. I'm also going to add a couple little bits in this video so you guys can see it. So this is Case's new corn head. And quite honestly, I'm pretty sure no one has even paid attention to it.
No.
Because there's this big combine hook to it. But Michael, talk about this. This augers, this is pretty neat. If you like red equipment, this corn head's pretty impressive.
Yes, I've obviously been around the red corn head, been around the Gehringoff corn head. Always, Case has struggled with their corn head for a while. I don't know if they've doubled the size of this cross auger.
It's crazy.
But it is literally like a 55-gallon drum going around in a circle. Yeah.
And this is a chopping head, I noticed, putting it on the cart.
Yep.
But it's been working good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. No complaints.
Have you got this to fold yet? It looks like it doesn't fold very good.
No, this one's the rigid model. There is not a folding model. And if my friends from Case H see this video,
and they will,
they've heard me talk about that all week with them on every conference call I've had. I think that they've taken the hint. So,
come on, it can't be that complicated. Figure it out, boys.
Yeah. Well, we've got folding in the 4412.
Right.
they'll get it. It's just a matter of time. And, so the efficiency, like we just literally moved what, a half a mile, and we had to take the head off to get here. I mean, that's just, it's not efficient. And they're running 12-row folding gearing offs on their 8s, so they jumped over here and got the end rows off before we got here.
Right.
And there'll be some navigating that everybody will have to do, learning where does this combine go. When does it get to the field? It can't really be the first one there, because
that's right.
You got to have a place to get it off the road.
So Michael, we had it out and we shot that video in soybeans. Talk a little bit about how the rest of the soybean harvest went with it. Head worked good, no issues.
Yeah. Never even had an issue.
That's nice.
With it in soybeans.
So correct me if I'm wrong, did you say this machine was the one that was at Farm Progress Show?
I believe it is. I believe it was the one that was at Farm Progress.
That's nice.
And so I think it's had some celebrities in the seat here.
Wow.
I'm not quite sure why I wasn't invited. I'm kind of a celebrity too, but
well, you're in it now.
I'm in it now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mine now to keep for the rest of this season. And then I've heard where it's going next. I haven't confirmed that necessarily yet.
Got to be going north, I assume.
It's going north.
Yeah.
Believe it's staying in the state of Illinois.
Yeah, good.
So
better hurry.
I would anticipate we'll be done here with this hopefully by the weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully by kickoff on Saturday of the Illini game.
Nice. There you go. Hold on, I'm going to switch this back. There you go. Well, the one thing that I think is really nice that manufacturers are finally doing is I think it's important that they're doing this right here. It's all great to see super secret pictures of combines on trucks and stuff you've seen or I've seen that we can't talk about for obvious reasons. That happens all the time, but the most important thing is to get this out in the real world. Get it with customers, get people in the seat, and go see it firsthand.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. We've done some salesman training. We actually had some other dealers come up last Friday and spent the day with us.
That's good.
And everybody got some seat time in it. We've had customers come out and ride with us. We haven't moved it around to other farms simply because you have to be able to handle the capacity.
Yeah.
And later in the season here, we got guys that are done. But a guy that's only got one auger cart and 3 semis, you can't go there with this.
Right.
It's just not going to have enough to get anything done.
So talk about the rollout. I think I'd heard at Farm Progress limited, but they're going to be available next year, right?
They are. There's limited production for 2025. I've got allocation for units. I think we'll get our first 1 or 2 sold here this week.
Wow.
But that's yet to be done. But
well, if you quit screwing around in a combine, come on.
I know.
All right.
I have not spent much time in my office in the last month.
And rightfully so.
Which is pretty normal.
Yeah, it's true.
Pretty normal for me. So.
Crazy how fast harvest got done this year. It's just, everybody is 2-3 weeks early.
Yeah.
Even the early guys. Everybody is close to done. I think these guys were talking about maybe Friday or Saturday getting done.
Yeah. That's the hope, is that we're wrapped up here by the weekend. And this has never happened. Their fertilizer buggy is right behind us.
Yeah, I saw it today.
Their tillage guys are right behind it.
Yeah.
We've made great progress here this fall, so we just need a little rain to soften the ground up and be able to put on the anhydrous here pretty quick.
Well, we need some moisture. I think that's, anybody you talk to is just a little concerned about that. We definitely need some moisture. Well, Michael, thanks a bunch for kind of giving a little insight. We'll throw this up on YouTube, and want to thank everybody at Case that allows us to come out here and I guess, talk about this big machine. I think it goes without saying it's important to see it.
Yeah, it's been really good being able to run it, have as much seat time as I've got with it. You know, I've always been out in the field and worked on stuff and like this part of my job. So
Yeah.
this has been really good, and I really want to say thank you very much for you coming out and doing all this.
Yeah, it's fun.
I know the guys at Case have expressed their gratitude.
Well, I think the interesting part is a lot of guys don't get the opportunity to come do it, and certainly even the dealer network, a lot of those guys don't get a chance. You got technicians, you got salesmen,
Yep.
you got all those people, Michael, that maybe aren't fortunate enough to get out here and run it. That's kind of the idea, right? It's
Yeah.
one thing to see it on a truck or watch it in a video. It's another thing to get some insight from someone like yourself that's been around it and tried it, used it. You
Yeah.
know, I think that matters quite a bit. You know, so
Yeah, and I mean that's obviously, I mean, there's lots of dealers that can say, yeah, I want to try that combine in my store or whatever. But man, you've got to have a place you can go with it. We've had a couple times where we've had to sit and wait. You know, luckily the Lebanon Parts Depot's a 5-hour round trip.
Speaking of that, you and I don't ever have any secrets in this regard. You had looked like a welding issue on an auger, not a big deal.
Yep.
I mean, outside of that, what else have you experienced, Michael?
There's a hydraulic line in the back end that we've replaced a couple of times, but it's a supplier issue. It's
right?
you know, it's where the flat face O-ring fitting crimps onto the pipe, and
Not machined right or tolerance.
yeah,
on or
it's
something.
just not. Somebody was, you know, sick on fitting on pipe day, I guess, and
Well,
you know, they'll address that. And
I think part of the reason to me that's important is, let's be honest, you're building confidence with farmers that are going to buy this. And if it's out here running every day without any trouble in a prototype mode, it's only going to get better next year. So that's a great thing.
yeah, that's how we gained so much knowledge on the flagship machines. Was unfortunately, if you had a breakdown, you had to fix it. So
Yeah, right.
we've got to see this combine pretty good. We've got a lot of attention on us now from Case H. We've got a field test engineer out here with us now. Now we're in some good standing corn. We're 6 miles an hour, 90% engine load, 7,600 bushels an
That's
hour,
awesome.
which the field test engineer would not be happy with me at the moment.
He said, please don't run it that hard.
Kind of. We went and put the 8,300 bushel an hour pulley and belt back on it. So, but we're just gonna run her here at 7,600
That's insane.
bushels an hour.
That's so awesome.
And we're not working it. I mean, we're still not overloaded.
Hey,
the
hold
sieve.
on. I'm going to switch this camera view and go show you this because this is way cool. Hold on. All right, so I'm going to do my best here.
Yeah. So rotor loss, mog, cracked and broken. You got your sieves over here, and then this bar graph over here is your sieve pressure. It's basically how much load is on your sieve for air pressure.
So that just went up to red. So
Yep. So now watch right here. You'll see those turn blue.
oh yeah, they did. They
Now
just went to blue.
things are going to start to change,
Oh, there
and
they
you
go.
see that now. Here they come back down,
Wow.
and that is all.
8,600 an hour.
Oh well, that could
Hey, are
be.
you going to get your hand slapped, Michael?
I don't know. There's 8,800.
Oh, come on. You're that close to 9. Just can't get. Oh.
Here, I'll get there.
Oh, the grain tank.
Oh,
Oh, we got a little ditch here. Hold on. See, that'll make for some good video right there.
yeah.
Yeah, nice. Oh, it's funny.
I thought we were going to get there.
I think you did. The grain tank full thing came on. Well, that's awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you got any questions, see your local Case IH dealer, or if you want to talk to the man himself, give Michael a call at Central Illinois Ag. I'll guarantee you'll find him. He's there every day, and I certainly hope they bring out a lot more marketing material too. It'd be neat to show a little bit more of some of the inside of the combine, because It doesn't look like anything you've ever run before, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Michael. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you've got any questions, leave them down in the comments. We'll do our best to get those answered just as quick as we can. And certainly, the big place to go for information is go out to Case IH's website and also go see your local dealer. There's going to be a lot of talk here in the future about this machine. It's going to be interesting to see as it develops. The other thing is, look for another video coming soon. I'm going to get the opportunity to get in the New Holland twin rotor combine as well. Really looking forward to that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. God bless. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.